Hello everyone. My name is Sayre Borden. I am the Historic Preservation Specialist with Nevada State Parks, and I'm giving a talk this evening on Googie architecture in Las Vegas. What this talk will consist of is a historic context of the Googie architectural style, its history, its beginnings, its origins in Los Angeles, and how it came out to Las Vegas, how it fits into the National Register of Historic Places, as well as a virtual architecture walk of some Googie style buildings and signs, mainly in the downtown corridor that retain some of its, very well retain its historic integrity. So with that, I'm going to begin our presentation. So a little bit about me. Not everyone here may know who I am. I'm Sayre Borden. I work for Nevada Division of State Parks. I am a Secretary of Interior Qualified Architectural Historian. I've been with State Parks for about 2 years now, and prior to that, I was an architectural historian with SWCA Environmental Consultants in Sacramento, primarily working on Section 106 projects on federal, state, county, city, and tribal projects. I hold a master's degree in public history from California State University, Sacramento, and a bachelor's degree in history from Eastern Nazarene College. So I have been an architectural historian now for about 4 years, so early to early mid-career, and I'm still learning a lot along the way. If any time throughout this presentation I may misidentify or misinterpret a architectural feature, please feel free at the end of the presentation to bring that up and we can talk about it. I'm always happy to learn more and learn more from other architectural historians here in Nevada. So with that, we can begin talking about Googie. So what is Googie? Googie, sometimes referred to as exaggerated modern, Las Vegas coffee shop architecture, doo-wop, or populux elsewhere in the United States, is a variant of mid-century modern that is notable for exceptionally bold, eye-catching forms and hyper-stylized appearances. Typical features of Googie include exaggerated roof lines, which can be hyperbolic in nature, can also feature umbrella, airplane, and butterfly designs. They are typically one story. You don't see too many two-story Googie style buildings here in Las Vegas or throughout the United States. They tend to be slung low to the ground and surrounded by ample parking, which we'll talk about in the historic context on Googie. They tend to have asymmetrical facades that convey movement, flush-mounted expanses of steel or aluminum frame glass. They contain a variant of building materials, including concrete, steel, glass, asbestos in older styles, cement, stone, glass, block, plastics, plywood, ceramic tile, and porcelain enamel. Something you see on Googie a lot, which harks back to its space-age design, is neon tubing. And going off of that, many signs and buildings will include space-age imagery such as rockets, pulsating stars, and satellites. So to begin, I'd like to give a brief history of Googie, where it came from, who are some of the early architects, and how it came out to Las Vegas. So with that, we'll begin by discussing Googie really in Los Angeles and its post-war growth. I can move slides here. There we go. So emerging in an optimistic, automobile-centered culture of post-World War II America, Googie architecture embodied the nation's fascination with speed, technology, and the promise of a futuristic space age. Nowhere else was this present in Las Vegas, where bold forms, dramatic signage, and atomic age imagery reflected the rapid growth and entertainment-driven identity. Characterized by dramatic roof lines, sweeping curves, bold geometric forms, and eye-popping signage, Googie was designed to attract middle-class motorists traveling along America's newly developed highways and commercial corridors. Influenced by rapid advancements in science, aviation, and space exploration of the 1950s and 1960s, Googie architecture became a visual symbol of progress and modernity. In Las Vegas, the style flourished as casinos, motels, restaurants, and roadside businesses embraced the futuristic aesthetic to compete to attract visitors. The embrace of this style by the city helped establish a distinctive mid-century landscape that continues to define much of Sin City's architectural identity to this day. Googie drew inspiration from the broad trends in pre-World War II commercial design of the streamlined modern movement. Like its successor, Streamline Modern took an inspiration from America's captivation with technology and progress of the 1930s and early 1940s, which was expressed through industrial design and streamlined aesthetics of ships and airplanes. The post-World War II atomic age, a period generally defined between 1945 and 1970, witnessed an increase in America's fascination with technology, as the United States asserted itself as a world leader in areas of atomic weaponry, and space travel. Themes such as rocket ships, spaceflight, and nuclear energy became increasingly common, and their visual cues became more integrated into architecture and popular culture. By 1950, consumer goods had taken on a futuristic aesthetic, with manufacturers incorporating ornamental tail fins on vehicles. Buildings featured upswept roofs, and logos incorporated starbursts and satellite imagery. By the 1940s, these factors had merged into a distinctive architectural vocabulary that manifested in the design of 3 coffee shop restaurants in Los Angeles. Designed by LA-based architect Douglas Honnold and John Lautner. These buildings were especially expressive with upsloping ceilings that jutted out across the sidewalk, floor-to-ceiling glass sheets, and angled entry glass. Sharp angles and jutting forms continued into the interior, which added to the visual interest and liveliness. Googie architecture presented a curiosity to the passerby, and its extreme, expressive, and flamboyant design captured society's captivation with the future. The expressive and flamboyant design of the style led to the coining of its very name, when in 1952, New York-based architectural critic and former Frank Lloyd Wright student Douglas Haskell took note of the perceived ostentation of the Tiny Nailers restaurant in Hollywood, as you can see here on the lower left of your screen. He coined the term Googie to describe this emergent style of coffee shop modern architecture in a 1952 article, House and Home magazine. The name stuck. The coffee shop and commercial buildings that embodied the futuristic style were therefore described as Googie. By the early 1950s, the Googie style had become the dominant mode of architecture for coffee shops and casual dining establishments in Southern California. The bold, futuristic design developed along networks of boulevards that traversed Los Angeles and became corridors of roadside commerce amid the rapid growth of the city, and became linked to the public gaze of notable restaurant chains such as Denny's, Bob's Big Boys, and Norm's. The popularity of Googie saw the style expand to design itself into a super aesthetic 1950s and 1960s American retrofuturism, and appealed to the average middle-class American. The style wasn't utilized for the styling of wealthy homes. It was for coffee shops, gas stations, diners, banks, and bowling alleys, the average buildings of everyday lives of middle-class Americans. The style became a staple of mid-century popular culture, with Googie being utilized in television series such as The Jetsons and Disneyland's Tomorrow. I'm going to take a break from the context here to just kind of go over these photographs. So these photographs I have here on screen, the upper left, we see the Ship's Coffee Shop in Westwood, Los Angeles. The main defining Googie feature we see here is kind of this boomerang along the main logo, as well as some of this not multi-gabled, but more serrated overhang, as well as some of the signage, the wording kind of in a Googie-esque writing style. On your lower left, you're going to see the Tiny Nailers coffee shop, as I talked about in some of the architectural defining features of the building and of Googie itself, we see some of these exaggerated roof lines that extend far out beyond the actual restaurant itself. Is the roof is also in the design of a spaceship, something you would see in um, popular culture, um, and as well as the lighting. I'm not sure if this is neon or more fluorescent. Um, and it also provides ample parking for roadside visitors to come and park. Remember, at this time, Los Angeles and the United States has become the center of automobile culture. Middle-class Americans are buying automobiles and hitting the roads, and this is a way for the coffee shop to 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 showcase itself and stick out among the many other restaurants and businesses of Los Angeles. And then on the right, we have the famous Los Angeles theme building, LAX theme building, that does contain almost space saucer-ish designs. Almost looks like something you might see out of one of the War of the Worlds movies, and was built by prominent LA architect and Googie architect Paul Williams, who we will talk about later in this presentation. Again, talking about Googie and post-war culture, the night post-World War II America is a time of innovation, expense. We are seeing a rapid growth in space technology, aviation, atomic and nuclear testing, and it is becoming more prominent in everyday culture as the Cold War progresses. And this is shown throughout popular culture, not just in television, as we see down on your lower right for shows like the Jetsons, that will embrace the Googie style as animators will use that to design the universe of that family. On your upper right here, we have nuclear bomb testing at the Nevada test site. During the 1950s and 1960s, this will become a common occurrence, and will be talked about throughout the news and as the Cold War progresses. And then on the right here, we have I guess a more local photo. We have Frank Sinatra here alongside Jack and Trotter, who was the general manager of the Sands Hotel and Casino. They were standing behind a photo here with Frank in a more of a cartoonish, I guess, space helmet, with a drawing of what's called the Sandsnik. This is poking fun at the Sputnik spaceship that the Soviet Union had launched in the late 1950s, 1957. Just poking fun at it, but we can see that the space and atomic nuclear energy is at the forefront of American culture. So getting back now to the context here, Googie is first and foremost a commercial style designed to catch the eye of passing motorists by tapping into their modern sensibilities and captivation with progress and technology. The style became the architectural example of post-war American capitalism. As Googie increased in popularity and the growing fascination Americans had with the atomic and space culture of the 1950s and 60s, the style expanded outside of Southern California to regions including the California Central Valley, Seattle, and Las Vegas. The next photo I have up here is a 1953 USGS topo map of Las Vegas as it would have looked in 1953. As I'd previously stated, Googie became the roadside architecture. It was meant to be a part of buildings and signage that was along major roadways, and meant to catch the eye of these new American automobilists traveling along America's new highway system. So as we can see here on this map, what's most kind of eye-popping about this are the two major road arteries that traverse in and out of Las Vegas. We have Route 91 here that we know today as, well, the northern portion of it as Las Vegas Boulevard, the Strip, and then as well as Nevada State Highway 580 here, protruding kind of southeast, going towards Boulder, the Hoover Dam, what we know today as Boulder Highway. Prior to World War II, Las Vegas existed as a small town, notched above other southern Nevada towns by the San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake City Railroad. After the war, the city witnessed a growth spurt of people and infrastructure that was unrestricted by a layered net framework of streets, transportation systems, history, industry, poverty, downtown, and suburban districts in other U.S. cities like Los Angeles. Architects, Los Angeles-based architects such as Wayne McAllister, Douglas Honnold, Louis Armet, Eldon Davis, and Martin Stern Jr., who had helped popularize Googie in Southern California, flocked to Las Vegas, whose architectural problems or lack of architecture provided a blank canvas to develop the built environment of this budding city. Architects focused their efforts on the growing main commercial strip of Las Vegas Boulevard South, Highway 91, as we see here protruding south that will go to Barstow and connect to Southern California, as well as Boulder Highway. Googie was chosen by the architects as the style of this new budding city, not only because it was heavily popularized in Los Angeles among commercial buildings, but it was also utilized as some of the earliest commercial buildings, signages, and resorts in the city, such as the El Rancho, which actually predates the period of significance for Googie, being constructed in 1939, which today is the Las Vegas Festival Grounds, down kind of over where Resorts World is. The Desert Inn Hotel and Casino, which was constructed in 1950 and sits where now both the Wynn and Encore are, as well as the Sands Hotel, which was constructed in 1952 and now, now sits where the Venetian is. All of these hotels designed by LA Googie architect Wayne McAllister. While designing the Sands, McAllister took influence from Bob's Big Boy restaurant in Toluca Lake in the San Fernando Valley. The resort featured strong verticals of the sign, which contrasted with the low verticals of the hotel and casino. If I can pull through here, I'll come back to that. All right, where is it? Here, we'll come here. We can see here is a drawing of the Sands, and we can kind of see what they are talking about here. We see the low verticals of casino, not taking into account the tall hotel tower. The hotel featured a port angular canopy, which was suspended from large-scale stucco bents with canister lighting. We can see some of that here in this early drawing, which is available within the UNLV digital archives. The modern colonnade of curved pipes and freestanding block pylons screened the pool from the drive. Vertical louvres, marble facing, and beveled showcase frames ornamented the front-facing facade. Behind all of this was the hotel rooms, or hotel tower, as we can see here. Honnold, another LA-based architect, designed a restaurant and the first motel wing of the Flamingo, while Martin Stern designed the Sayre's first skyscraper and convention facility. Signage also remained highly sculptural, often repeating the symbolic motives of their hotels to attract visitors. And we can even see this outside of the Googie style with such places as the Greco-Roman columns of Caesar's Palace, Flamingo plumage, and Sayre's mosque-like onion dome, as well as the Stardust starbursts. Some more Googie photos we have here. This is Terminal 1 of McCarran or Harry Reid Airport. This is still here today, and we can kind of see that elongated hyperbolic roof that does extend out from the windows, and we can see a early photograph of what the Flamingo did look like. I believe this photograph is dated early 1950s. The photograph of Terminal 1, is 1963. So I would like to go back here a little bit and talk about kind of this Googie corridor. This is a map I created. I can put this in the chat for anyone who would like to take a look at it. This is by no means a National Historic District. This was just an area identified of research and field work that had a high density of Googie buildings and signs. And it does kind of check out with the previous photo uh, of the roadside architecture of Las Vegas, both Highway 91 and Boulder Highway being two major transportation arteries in the city. It would make sense that developers, business owners would want to put eye-catching signs along these roads to attract visitors to this new city, to this new entertainment destination. So as we can see here, and let me put this in the chat for anyone who would like to take a better look at it, if I can. Okay, it looks like it won't let me put it in, but that's okay. If anyone would like a copy of this, I would be more than happy to email it to you at the end of this presentation. So just to look at this here, we kind of see just some major defining features for anyone who's familiar with this area of Las Vegas, or anyone who's not. This historic Googie corridor that I've identified starts kind of here on the southwest end, just a little bit north of the stratosphere, and will extend northeast along Las Vegas Boulevard South, and will intersect on Fremont Street, which will continue on to Fremont Street East, which has a high density of Googie signage, a few buildings, and will end here at the Flamingo Collision, a building we will talk about later on. So with that, I will continue. So some of the buildings we see along here are still around today. I highly recommend driving this corridor, especially at night. Some of the signs will light up. There were major preservation efforts in the 2010s to preserve a lot of these signs and buildings along this section of the city. Some areas can be a little dicey, so I highly recommend doing it from the safety and comfort of a motorized vehicle. The top sign you see here was part of the Las Vegas Motel, which opened around 1944. The sign was recreated by Vision Signs as part of the Centennial Project and installed back in the area in 2020. The sign includes elements from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s versions of the sign. So a little bit of a Frankenstein structure here. In the 1990s, the motel became the Fisher Motel, and the neon was removed and sign repainted. East Fremont Street developed as a major gateway into Las Vegas following the completion of Boulder Highway and the designation of U.S. Highways 93, 95, and 466 through downtown. As automobile ownership increased nationwide after the Second World War, thousands of tourists traveled to southern Nevada by car, creating demand for affordable lodging outside the resort casinos concentrated in the downtown core. Entrepreneurs responded by constructing numerous small motels along Fremont Street, where visibility from the roadway was critical to commercial success. Motel operators invested heavily in large-scale illuminated signs designed to distinguish their properties from competing establishments and capture the attention of passing motorists. The Las Vegas motel sign emerged with this competitive commercial environment and embodies the architectural and technological trends that shaped roadside advertising during the mid-20th century. Characterized by bold lettering, neon illumination, and prominent vertical orientation, the sign was designed to be visible from long distances, both during the day and at night. Its design reflected influence associated with mid-century and Googie architecture. The style that embraced futuristic forms, dramatic geometries, and references to the emerging space age. The next sign we see down here is the Starview Motel, which was originally built as the Catherine Motel in 1953. This was developed by Catherine McQuaid Horton, a prominent Las Vegas businesswoman and widow of early Las Vegas pioneer John W. Horton. In 1958, ownership changed and the property was renamed to the Starview Motel, at which time the sign was modified to reflect the new identity. The star that we see here on top, a symbol that is commonly part of Googie signage, was installed in the early 1960s. Like many independent-owned motels in downtown Las Vegas, the Starview Motel experienced declining fortunes during the late 20th century as tourism shifted from East Fremont Street to what we know today as the Strip. The property was renamed Alicia Motel 3 in 2001, and the historic sign altered through the removal of its neon components and original lettering. In 2013, the motel ceased operations, and not long after, the motel building demolished. However, the sign was recreated as part of the Las Vegas Historic Preservation Commission Centennial Legacy Grant Project and reinstalled in 2020. The Starview sign serves as a tangible reminder of a period when small, friendly operated motels catered to motorists entering Las Vegas from across the West. And then on the right here, we have the Star Motel photo. This is a photo I took a couple weeks ago. Originally opened in 1948 and offered apartment-like setups with rates at $24 a week. The sign sits on a block where several properties were built in the 1940s and 50s when Fremont Street served as a byway connecting Boulder Highway. These signs do not qualify individually for the National Register of Historic Places, or NRHP, but the argument could be made that they could be part of a larger historic district. And then this next photo here are just some historic photographs. We see here on the left a 1950s photos of the Starview Motel when it was the St. Catherine Motel, still containing some of its original design, though St. Catherine is now gone. And then on the right, we have the Star Motel with its shooting star, again going back to the space age design. And this photograph is taken between 1950s and 1970s. Continuing on to Fremont Street East, we do see some more of these signs. This one on the left is the Ambassador Hotel. It was originally built in 1930 as the Ambassador Apartments. However, by the late 1930s, it had become the Ambassador Auto Court. The sign has grown significantly since the 1930s. We see with the motel, the A, as well as a lot of the neon tubing that has become synonymous with Las Vegas today. The hotel portion closed in 1996 and was finally demolished in 2007. However, the sign remains now what's a parking lot, and as well as a small llama sign added, not really Googie. However, one of the main architects behind the downtown project's developments was Tony, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Sheesh, who was a big animal lover, especially llamas, and was added in 2012. On the right here, I really like this photo here because it does show the broad expanse of Fremont East, again going back to the automobile movement of the 1950s and 60s, these wide roadways with signage like this Ferguson's Motel, which originally opened in 1950s as the Franklin Motel. There was a difference there sign. The current sign you see was added in the 1950s and 60s. When the Franklin Motel closed in 2013, a private group named Ferguson Downtown took over the property, added this portion of the sign here, not from the period of significance of Googie. However, they worked it to fit into it and make it look kind of I guess the word homogeneous with this. with the original signage. Again, we see what could be described as a sun swirling and pulsating, utilizing the neon tubing and pulsating lights that are synonymous with Googie. Today, it's a retail space, a coffee shop, and a commercial center. But to get back to our context here, so Googie thrived in Las Vegas due to fierce competition from businesses along the main commercial corridors to attract motor tourists and passerbys. Another reason for the rise in popularity of the style in Las Vegas is the city's association with atomic development. Hmm. In the post-World War II years, the Atomic Energy Commission, or AEC, and President Truman relocated testing from the South Pacific to a designated section of the Nellis bombing range 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas. This new testing facility provided ample space, a temperate climate, and a nearby urban area with transportation to convey people and materials while maintaining secrecy. Between 1950 and 1963, the AEC tested 100 above-ground atomic detonations, while underground testing continued until 1997. While tests flattened, cratered, and radiated large parts of the state, it also brought in thousands of tourists and residents to work on and research the blast. Testing became a tourist attraction, with hotels setting up viewing parties, beauty pageants, Miss Atomic Blast, which we see up here in the upper right, hairdos, the atomic hairdo, which unfortunately I could not find any historic photographs of. If anyone has any, please feel free to put it in the chat. And the atomic cocktail. The Las Vegans jumped at the chance to market themselves as a nuclear tourist attraction. Once touted as the gateway to the Boulder Dam, Las Vegas began promoting itself as Atomic City. The Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce issued a calendar for tourists, listing the scheduled times of bomb detonations and the best places to view them. The Sky Room at the Desert Inn, offering a panoramic view of the Nevada horizon, was a favorite watch spot among tourists, as well as nearby Mount Charleston. Many tourists packed atomic box lunches and picnicked as close to ground zero as the government would allow. On the eve of destination, many Las Vegas businesses held dawn bomb parties. Beginning at midnight, guests would drink and sing until the flash of the bomb lit up the night sky. The Stardust Hotel, which opened in 1958, utilized interstellar imagery to brand the hotel as a place built around the atomic age, with its sign massively animated and drenched in nuclear symbolism, which included swirling electrons, starbursts, and pulsating lights. Pictures we see here, obviously I've already mentioned Miss Atomic Las Vegas. We see the young lady here in I don't know if you could call it dress, that is meant to resemble the mushroom plume of a nuclear destination. On the lower right here, we have the famous bombs over Fremont. This is a 1953 photograph, and we can still see this was taken what is today the Fremont Street Experience. We can see Vegas Vic here, the Pioneer Club, which I believe today is where Circa stands, roughly. And then on the left, we have soldiers standing by the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission sign located in Mercury, Nevada, which was a town created by the federal government, the AEC, to help with nuclear testing. Again, going back to the marketing and the tourism industry that nuclear testing brought to Las Vegas. On the left here, we have a postcard, a 1950s postcard of the Pioneer Club. Again, this is just a looks like animated version of the bombs over Fremont. This is meant to attract visitors to come to Las Vegas to view the parties or to view the bombs as well as party. Our upper right photo here, we have the atomic cocktail. This is a frame. This is actually from a 1982 film. The photograph itself, the ad really is, I believe, 1960s. And then down below, we have a unique Horseshoe Club ad talking about how they have the best views of uh, the atomic blast in the city. Another way to help people to bring tourists into the city. So with that, the incorporation of neon into into the Las Vegas Googie style helps define the city as a pulsating beacon of late 20th century architecture and the epicenter of atomic age culture. Neon came to Las Vegas in the 1940s with Utah sign maker Thomas Young, owner of the Young Electric Sign Company, also known as Yesco, when he came to Las Vegas looking to expand his business. Starting in 1944 was the construction of the Neon Boulder Club sign. Yesco would continue to create neon signage across the valley and included in some of the city's most iconic landmarks, such as Vegas Vic in 1951, located on Fremont Street, the Circus Circus sign, which came after the Googie Styles period of significance, as well as the Welcome to Las Vegas sign constructed in 1959. The mixture of neon and of Googie's visual translation of post-World War II scientific optimism and fascination with nuclear and space exploration turned Las Vegas into the epicenter of atomic culture. By the late 1960s, Googie began to fall out of popular architectural flavor. The aspects of the future that had once engaged energized excitement among the public were now waning, with the climax of the space race being the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969, as well as nuclear testing becoming a mundane routine of Cold War life. The budding environmental movement at this time emphasized the virtues of land stewardess, decreased interest in atomic culture, and engaging in the excess that would manifest in the Googie style. After 1970, the style was no longer utilized in commercial construction. Even though Googie has fallen out of style for building, the city still embraces the style as part of its architectural heritage, with the signage on Fremont Street East in the 1990s, and the Stratosphere constructed in the mid 1990s, as well as multiple in and outs that are scattered throughout the valley. So with that, kind of ending our context on Googie, I'd like to briefly talk about Googie and its relation to the National Register of Historic Places, its eligibility standards, before we begin our architectural tour. So resources evaluated under this theme are significant in the area of architecture as excellent examples of Googie style and exhibit quality of design through distinctive features. These can include the hyperbolic roofs, signage, as well as space-like additions onto signs such as satellites, pulsating stars, and atomic imagery. The Googie style architecture featured a variety of remarkable, bold, and eye-catching elements that were intended to attract the attention of passing motorists and tapped into society's fascination with the modern era and progress. Its bold forms and colors became synonymous with the proliferation of Southern California car culture after the Second World War and became the public face of roadside businesses, of middle-class businesses such as coffee shops, bowling alleys, gas stations, and motels. With that, we've talked about it briefly. The general period of significance for Googie tends to be 1945, so the end of the Second World War, up to about 1970, when architectural tastes begin to change. These justifications include that the Googie style was popular in these years immediately following the Second World War, and beginning in the mid 1940s when some of the earliest examples of the style were constructed. The geographic locations of Googies, you see a large concentration of these in the western United States, primarily the West Coast, Los Angeles, the Central Valley, Sacramento, as well as Las Vegas and other western cities such as, Portland and Seattle. Areas of significance include architecture, which criteria C. Associated property types are commercial, and and standards usually consist of if the building or signs contain still exhibit exhibits quality of design through its distinctive features. So with that, we are going to conclude the context and we'll begin our architectural tour of Las Vegas. Now, if I can go briefly back up here to this corridor, some of the sites we will see will be within this corridor, some will not. This tour consists of both buildings and signs. Some of these buildings may qualify for the National Register of Historic Places. Like I said about signage, these would maybe more qualify as a historic district with a concentration of signs, and will include one currently registered NRHP property. So with that, I'd like to start at the Neon Museum or the La Concha Motel lobby. The La Concha Motel was constructed in 1961 at 2955 South Las Vegas Boulevard. It was designed by internationally known African-American LA-based architect Paul Revere Williams and built for M.K. Dumani, whose family operated the motel at this location from 1961 to 2002. Famous guests at this hotel include Ronald Reagan and Margaret Flip Wilson and Muhammad Ali. The motel, as we can see here, this is the recent photograph I took of the lobby. Included a free-form concrete shell lobby where it extends out into the roadway here. This is not the original location of the motel. It was moved in the mid-2000s, but it is still conveying that architectural style of Googie with its protruding roofline meant to capture the eye of motorists nearby. In 2004, the motel wing was demolished. The lobby was moved to its current site that we see here at 770 Las Vegas Boulevard, and was incorporated into the Neon Museum as its visitor center. Some of the historic photographs we see here, on the upper right, we can see the motel lobby here in its original location. You can even see some of the original sign here. Down here on the lower right, we have I believe a 1960, 1961 photograph of the roof being constructed. And these two photographs here are provided by the UNLV Digital Archives. Here's some more photographs. On the left here, we have an aerial photograph. This photo was provided by the Las Vegas Convention and Visitor Authority. And the one on the right here, which shows the hotel wing and pool, is from a 1960s postcard. Some more photographs of when the building was moved in the early 2000s. On the left here, we have a piece of the shell roof being disassembled. This photograph was part of a Melvin Green and Associates project, who actually did some of the removal and moving of the building. And then on the right here, we have the building being reassembled in 2007 in its current location. The photograph is provided by Chattel Architecture, Planning, and Preservation. So to go back up here to talk NRHP, the Neon Museum building, the La Concha lobby, it could appear eligible for the NRHP under criteria C because of its connection by master architect Paul Williams. As I previously stated, Williams was an African-American Los Angeles-based architect who had gained a national reputation for projects ranging from affordable housing and single-family homes to large commercial buildings. He has also, some of his work in the city also includes or outside of the city includes the theme building in at LAX, which we are all familiar with, as well as, what do I have here? The Las Vegas racetrack, the Thunderbird Motel, um, the El Morocco, which right here he had previously worked on, as well as the Guardian Angel Cathedral, which is a building we will see soon in this presentation. To go to a sign, I'd like to, this tour will mostly go back and forth between building and signs. The next sign we have here is the Starlight Motel sign, located at 1873 North Las Vegas Boulevard. It was constructed in 1963. The motel emerged during a period of rapid growth in both Las Vegas and North Las Vegas. This sign is actually located in North Las Vegas. Excuse me. The property, the motel building is still around. It is built on land that was previously part of a motor court in the 1930s. However, the Starlight Motel does appear by the late 1940s when advertisements promoted cabin-style accommodation along what was then known as Main Street. The original cabins were replaced sometime in the 1980s, 1990s, I believe, to be a more modern motel complex that reflected contemporary architectural commercial trends. The motel is still in operation as of today. The outward-facing sign retains much of its original architectural integrity. On the right here of your screen, we see it's part of a 1960s ad. We can see the sign lit up at night, which is really unique because it does show its stars, it's pulsating, again going back to space age imagery, as well as we can see some of the original motel court. Again, this photo we see in the middle here is from 2017 as part of a larger survey of neon signs in the city. And then on the left here is a photo I took a couple weeks ago showing the state of the sign in 2026. We can see that between 2017 and 2026, the original, I guess, lettering was removed to cursive lettering removed to kind of and replaced by this more block style. In terms of NRHP eligibility, as a single resource, this would not be eligible. But again, as I reiterate, it could possibly qualify as part of a larger, as a contributing resource to a larger district. For neon signage, again, the sign coming about in the 1940s and 50s was a popular time for space age star-themed businesses. Again, was the stars, even in the name Starlight, having that Googie space age influences on it. So to go to our next sign here, we have the Hi-Hat Motel sign. This one has seen quite a bit of change since its original inception. Originally, this sign located at 1300 South Las Vegas Boulevard was constructed in 1958 as the Chevron Motel. The original sign you can see here at the top middle. The motel sign, the motel sign along South Las Vegas Boulevard, the principal corridor connecting Las Vegas with the resort district now known as the Strip, was a important commercial and transportation corridor for traveling tourists in this automobile tourism age of post-war America. The Chevron Motel replaced an earlier auto court that occupied the site in the 1940s, reflecting the continual modernization of Las Vegas's tourist infrastructure. The new motel and its associated roadside signs were designed to compete with each other. During the 1960s, the sign was modified to incorporate more space-age motifs, including at the top here we can see on the right. Up here we see what has been referred to as a Sputnik. Again, going back to the Sputnik satellite, space age, the space race, to help draw tourism with people who were fascinated by early space travel. By 1987, the property was renamed the Hi-Hat Regency Motel. Rather than replace the sign, the owners adopted the earlier Chevron Motel signage to accommodate this new business identity. This layered evolution of the sign illustrates a common pattern in Las Vegas where commercial properties frequently update existing roadside signage rather than constructing new installations. As we can see, the Sputnik was removed as well as the arch. However, they did contain this boomerang feature we see here, which is center and still available today. As part of the sign, being one of the few Googie style elements still part of the sign. However, we are still seeing neon tubing as well as these flashing, almost in a way, pulsating lights that have come to dominate signage throughout Las Vegas. In terms of NRHP eligibility, I would say this would not qualify even as part of a contributing district if we are referring it to Googie because the removal of some of its Googie features such as the Sputnik. So with that, we will continue on to the Todd Motel sign, which we see here. This is located at 1508 Las Vegas Boulevard. It was constructed between 1962 and 1963 by Tobler and Oliver Development, from which the motel derived its name, Todd. The sign really continues to be a prominent location along South Las Vegas Boulevard, a corridor that historically served as the primary gateway between downtown Las Vegas and the resort district to the south. It previously occupies the motel occupies the previous Bates Motel, which ran during the 1930s. The sign consists of a large vertical pole that splits into a V shape a third of the way up. We have several marquees down here at the bottom that include neon tubing, and really the two main architectural features that would consider it Googie would be this globe, also be referred to as a Sputnik, as well as the neon tubing. We do have a postcard photograph from the 1950s, 1970s that shows the original motel as well as the sign. The paint was on the pole was changed between 2017 and today. I did not take any current photographs of it. However, the photograph on your left here pretty much shows the sign how it is today. Really, the only thing that has changed is the paint, which, depending on the feature, is not the most critical architectural feature. So with that, I'd like to continue to the Flamingo Collision Center, located at 3024 East Fremont Street. If you remember the corridor map that I showed earlier in this presentation, we can see that this is at the southeast corner of this corridor. This was constructed in 1963 as the Pete Finley Oldsmobile showroom. The building emerged during a period of rapid growth and economic expansion that transformed Las Vegas from a regional gaming center into a major metropolitan area. The property reflects the increasing importance of the automobile industry in Southern Nevada and the growing demand for architecturally distinctive commercial buildings designed to attract motorists traveling along what is today Boulder Highway. The property is associated with Pete Finley, a pioneering Nevada automobile dealer who established the Pete Finley Oldsmobile in 1961. This is not the original location. The dealership relocated to this area in the mid-60s and has grown to be one of the largest automobile groups in the valley today. This building opened on October 4th, 1963, and just by looking at some of these historic photographs we have here, we can see that this is a quintessential Googie-style commercial building. We can see by the hyperbolic roof that extends out. We can see here with the signage here with the spaceship signage, again going back to the space age fascination. as well as some of the serrated roofing on the carport. And as well here we'll get a closer up photo, but you can see a little bit of a rock wall, sometimes referred to as a Brady rock, also going back to the Brady Bunch television series, which had come towards the tail end of the Googie movement, and served as a showroom throughout the 1960s and 70s. We can see a photo here with Muhammad Ali, and on your lower the lower photograph, this is a more recent photo from 2014. We can see that the serrated carport had been removed, as well as the rocket sign. These are some more up close photographs I had took recently of the building. We can see that the paint has changed. However, that has not detoured some of the physical architectural features. We still see the hyperbolic paraboloid roof here with the eaves that extend out. Definitely eye-catching. We do see that the serrated carport is still gone. The sign has changed here on the lower right. However, it still retains its Brady rock. I did not get up close photos, but we can see that some of the glass paneling and steel framing has been changed since the early 1960s. In terms of NRHP nomination, more documentation for association, post-war, which would be primarily discussing post-war expansion of Las Vegas and automobile-oriented commercial development, as well as association with Pete Finley under criteria B. And I would say it would not qualify under criteria C due to the removal of major architectural features that would associate with Googie, like the rocket ship sign and the serrated carport. However, it still retains its unique roof line. So with that, we're going to kind of travel back up to Fremont Street East to the Atomic Liquors sign. Atomic Liquors, which was established in 1952 by Joe and Stella Sobchik, is the oldest freestanding bar in Las Vegas and was among the first non-casino establishments to receive a tavern license by the city. The bar's name and identity emerged directly from the atomic age, when patrons would gather on the rooftop to observe atmospheric nuclear weapons testing conducted at the nearby Nevada test site. Atomic Liquors developed during a transformative period in southern Nevada history. Following the Second World War, the city experienced an unprecedented growth driven by tourism, automobile travel, military investment, and national curiosity with atomic technology. The building and sign have changed little since its inception. The sign's atomic-themed imagery and dramatic illuminated lettering reflected contemporary public fascination with nuclear science and future-oriented optimism that defined post-war America. We can see here on the sign, we can see the not a mushroom cloud that we would see, but we can kind of see an explosion, obviously referring to the atomic testing. In a grand opening ad from 1952, we can see the atomic is in a explosion cloud, as well as on the left here, another opening ad from the early 1950s. In terms of NRHP eligibility, we are talking about the sign. It could be argued that it isn't eligible as a single resource. However, future research is necessary to determine if it could be a contributing resource to a larger national historic district. The sign serves as both a commercial advertisement and cultural artifact, reflecting when the city embraced atomic imagery as part of its public identity. So our second to last stop here, I kind of went back and forth on including this one. It could be argued that this is just a contemporary mid-century modern. However, I liked to include it because of its association with architect, as well as not this tower here that, depending on how you look at it, could be interpreted as a somewhat of a spaceship. So this is the Guardian Angel Cathedral, located at 302 Cathedral Way. It was constructed in 1963 and was adjacent to the Las Vegas Strip. Um, the cathedral emerged during a period of Las Vegas history when the expansion of gaming and tourism transformed the city into an internationally recognized resort destination. Originally dedicated as a Saint Viator's Guardian Angel Cathedral Shrine, the building was designed by LA-based African-American architect Paul Williams, who had designed the theme building in Los Angeles and the La Concha Motel building, or the Neon Museum Visitor Center that we had previously looked at. The origins of the cathedral are closely tied to the development of the Las Vegas Strip during the post-war era. Beginning in the 1950s, Catholic clergy organized early morning masses within Strip resorts to accommodate casino employees whose work schedules prevented them from attending traditional services. As the hospitality industry expanded, local religious leaders and casino executives recognized the need for a permanent church near the resort corridor. The land for the project was donated in 1961 by casino developer Mo Dowlitz, whose financial support was provided by several Strip hotel operators. The shrine opened on October 2nd, 1963, serving both tourism workers and visitors to Las Vegas. Hungarian-born artists Edis and Isabel Pizek created the building's mosaic, murals, and glass-stained windows between the 1960s and 1970s. They designed the large mosaic we see here on the primary facade, the west-facing facade, which depicts the guardian angel accompanied by allegorical figures representing penance, prayer, and peace. While Isabel Pizek created the stained glass Stations of the Cross incorporated into the cathedral's triangular wall recesses that we see here flanking both the south facade and the north facade. The Guardian Angel Shrine became a co-cathedral for the Dioceses of Reno, Las Vegas in 1977 and retained cathedral status following the creation of the Diocese of Las Vegas in 1995. In 2023, Pope Francis elevated the Diocese of Las Vegas to an archdiocese, and Guardian Angel Cathedral became the Metropolitan Cathedral of Southern Nevada. Again, talking about architectural features, this is a Paul Williams designed cathedral. I was able to secure some designs and drawings courtesy of Guardian Angel Cathedral. If there's anyone on this Teams meeting from the cathedral, thank you again for providing these. These are from Paul Williams and Associate Architects. I'd like to go back up here to talk more about some of the architectural features. It is distinguished by its dramatic A-frame form, which creates a triangular profile visible from the adjacent Las Vegas Strip. The building's design breaks away from traditional church architecture, utilizing simple geometric forms, exposed structural expressions on a monumental scale that reflects contemporary architectural trends and the visual environment of mid-century Las Vegas. If we want to discuss the Guardian Angel Cathedral with the National Register of Historic Places, churches can be kind of an iffy ground with the NRHP. You could argue that the church could appear eligible under criteria C due to its association by a master architect, that architect being Paul Williams, who is a prominent African-American Googie architect in Southern Nevada and Southern California. Again, I took this photograph a few weeks ago. I think it's a good photograph that showcases kind of the divide between space age, mid-century Las Vegas and modern Las Vegas, right? We have the cathedral here with its very expressive forms of geometry. It's almost spaceship-like column here. And in the background, we have the mega monolithic resorts that dominate modern Las Vegas discourse today. So the last stop on our tour is probably arguably the most famous Googie style sign, not just in Las Vegas, the United States, but probably the world. And that would be the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign, located at 5100 South, Las Vegas Boulevard South. This is a freestanding roadside monument that exemplifies the commercial design and automobile-oriented architecture of mid-century Las Vegas. Designed by graphic designer Betty Davis and constructed by the Yesco Sign Company, who had designed other signs in Vegas and Reno. I previously talked about they had done Vegas Vic, Vegas Vicky, the Golden Nugget sign, and both clown signages for both Circus, Reno, and Vegas. The sign was erected in 1959 and was intended to serve as a symbolic gateway to the blooming resort corridor. We are all familiar with the sign. I think everyone here knows it. I did not go out to take photographs of it because very little of the signage itself has changed over the 60 plus years it has been around. And quite frankly, it is a very popular tourist attraction, and did not want to get in the way of the tourists with their photo opportunities. To talk about the architectural design of the sign features a distinct silhouette which consists of a horizontally oriented diamond-shaped panel mounted on two steel beams and crowned by a red 8-pointed starburst, a hallmark motif of Googie. Again, going back to fascination with the space age, atomic era. The sign includes a combination of illuminated neon tubing, incandescent lighting, and bold typography arranged in a way to maximize visibility for motorists approaching from the south. The phrase Fabulous Las Vegas is rendered in a contrasting colors and typeface that emphasize the city's identity as a destination for entertainment and tourism. The use of bright colors, geometric forms, and integrated lighting reflects the influence of Googie and the broader space age aesthetic that characterized the city during the atomic era. In 2007, Clark County installed a decorative artificial turf to help mitigate danger of tourists who were attempting to cross the road, parking their cars on Las Vegas Boulevard South to get photographs with this. That being really the main, I guess, construction update to the sign and surrounding property. In terms of NRHP, the sign is eligible for the National Register under criteria A because of its association with post-World War II entertainment, tourism, and advertising industries. The 1950s saw an explosion of casino construction on the Las Vegas Strip, and the 1959 welcome sign represented the optimism and boosterism of Las Vegas casino owners and civic leaders. I believe, let me see here, this period was made famous by the growth of hotel casinos as an architectural form and as a business proposition. Situated at the historic entrance to the Strip, the South End, the sign remains a symbol of how this segment of highway captured national imagination. The design of the welcome sign recalls a period when Las Vegas was taking its first strides towards international prominence. It was a time when the Rat Pack, a Las Vegas stage favorite composed of Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and Dean Martin, among others, made the Strip a hip place to be. The welcome sign is also eligible under criteria C because it is an excellent example of Googie architecture. And that comes in the form of the diamond shaped with curved sides, as well as the lighting bulbs, neon tubing, as well as the pulsating star. The sign was added to the National Register in May 2009, which happened to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the sign's construction. So that concludes our tour portion, but before I finish up, I'd like to talk about Googie in Las Vegas today. As I'd mentioned, Googie had fallen out of national architectural taste by 1970. However, Las Vegas will continue to hold on to that style as part of its city's identity. And we see that today throughout the city. As I'd mentioned before, the construction of the Stratosphere Hotel and Casino in 1966 embraces some of Googie's styling. We see in the 2007 with some signage along Fremont East, primarily the pulsating star, the boomerang, the neon, and as well as recently as 2017 with the Las Vegas Golden Knights incorporating the starburst and embedded it into their medieval imagery. Again, here's another photograph of the Fremont East District sign. I took this photo. It was a little difficult to get without standing in the middle of the road. You can't really see it too well because this modern light sign is in the way, but you can see pulsating signs. You can see a little bit of a boomerang and a halo, as well as neon tubing. So for additional information, here are some sources. They include the Survey LA program, which was done by Los Angeles City Planning, the UCLA and USC Digital Archives, the UNLV Digital Archives. Literature includes Alan Hess's Googie's 50 Coffee Shop Architecture, Michael Green's Nevada History of the Silver State, the Southern Nevada Neon Sign Survey, which is available through the UNLV Digital Archives, the Neon Museum, Atomic Museum, and VintageLasVegas.com. Here are a list of sources I used. Many of them are in the previous slide for additional information. And that concludes my my talk. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate every single one of you showing up.